Pelican Bay Dog News is a dog TV and news platform covering the welfare of canines across the world. PBK9s also specializes in obedience, scent, and protection training. Critiqued for shedding light on the corruption of illegal dog fighting and the ego seekers in the modern community, there has only been one motto. Some gonna like it, some ain't.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Yeah, but on my way home, yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy? But you still amaze me. Wouldn't it be crazy? But you still amaze me. Wouldn't it be crazy? But you still amaze me. Wouldn't it be crazy? But you still amaze me. Yeah, but on my way home, yeah. Yeah, but on my way home, yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy? But you still amaze me. Wouldn't it be crazy? But you still amaze me. Wouldn't it be crazy? But you still amaze me. Wouldn't it be crazy? But you still amaze me. Yeah, but on my way home, yeah.
This is the moment for those who.
Welcome back to your channel. It's your channel, PBK9 Dog TV, Dog News, giving it to you the way I always do. Like I always tell my brothers, fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. Some gonna like it, some ain't. Y'all hit that like button up before y'all forget about it. Y'all hit it before y'all forget about it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, you know what I always tell you to do. If you're not getting your notifications as well, unsubscribe, subscribe back, hit that notification bell, you'll be back into the loop. Big shout out, big salute to all the dog lovers from around the world, from the top, from the bottom, to the left, to the right. All the dog lovers doing what they got to do to take care of these K9s. We got a tad bit of dog news and a whole lot of dog talk. And I got some questions to ask my brothers because I'm trying to figure out some things today. Trying to figure out some things today. Big shout out to the brothers down in the chat, to the sisters down in the chat. Let's get into this, man. Let's get into this dog talk. First, I'm going to start off by saying, brother asked me again, and I'm going to bring this up because it's a great question. And it may be a question that we cannot answer. Some things, are better left unsaid sometimes, But brother asked me, he says, how do you keep this breed intact? How do you keep the breed intact without breaking any laws? Being that we're trying to do things the right way, how do you keep the dog the way he's supposed to be? Dog aggressive, ready to get and do what he's supposed to do. But I will say, I think one way to ensure that this breed is kept intact is by keeping the breed in the hands of people that actually knows the breed. A lot of these people got these dogs and don't actually know know about the breed. You know a little bit of pedigrees and that's about it. But you don't actually know about the breed and what all it takes to keep these breeds up to par. And I got a lot of things to talk about. We're gonna touch on a lot of different topics in a lot of different areas, But just wanted to say, in order to keep this breed intact, you got to make sure the dog man that's getting this dog is legitimate. You know what I'm saying? Making better dogs by making better people, like the brother said, or having better people, or dealing with better people, communicating with better people in your community, and selling to better people in your community. That way, the dog be in great hands, and then in great hands, the dog can't do nowhere but go up. And like I said, a lot of the times, it's more the breed is in higher chance to be eliminated because of being in the wrong person's hands than it is being eliminated because of uh, breeding for show quality dogs or conformation quality dogs. You know, you're gonna have great dogs breeding for the conformation dogs compared to these brothers who don't know what they're doing out here. You know, everybody, like I always say, everybody's a Maurice Carver, everybody's a Earl Tudor, or whatever you want to call them. You know, um, and that's just the way this dog game is, man. But far as keeping the breed intact, you know, it's a good question, man. Like I said, that's something you got to sit down with old schoolers and just politic about. You know, everything ain't meant to talk about online. But I will say, and I will give props to ADBA for making sure that they keep it, even though they doing the confirmation with brothers, and brothers is doing the confirmation shows, and sisters doing the confirmation shows. They're making sure the dog is intact. The dog still wants to get piece of another dog. The dog still is shaped the way he's supposed to be shaped, and just all around what the pit bull is supposed to be. And it's supposed to act like, you know. So I just think when it comes to what it's gonna take to keep the dog intact, make sure you got the right kind of people with these dogs. Cause like I said, if I'm selling working dogs and I'm doing protection work and all that type of stuff, right? And I sell a whole litter of Molly Wild puppies to great pet owners, but none of them are involved with that kind of work that I'm doing. How is that going to allow people to know that I got the kind of dogs that they're looking for if they're doing working dogs? That's what it means by get your dogs in the right hands. If I'm selling working dogs, dogs that's used for working, right? And I need for people to do the same kind of working stuff that I do to buy these dogs. How can I get my name out there if I'm selling the dogs to people who's not involved with the work? Although they are good pet owners, you know, you can be good pet owners, but if you're not involved with the work, then what's the purpose of the dog getting to you outside of me just knowing he's gonna be in a good home? Them people who gonna work them, they gonna have them in a good home as well, but they gonna know that I got the kind of dogs that they're looking for, or either I don't got the kind of dogs that they're looking for. I said it once before, and I'll say it again. It's time to start upgrading in this pit bull community. Even when it comes to these shows, my brothers and my sisters, you know, from the ADBA on down in all these shows, you know, don't be afraid to ask the people that's running these shows, can we start getting cash prizes? You see, if you got 50 people coming to your show for ribbons and trophies, you're gonna have triple that when you're talking about cash prize. Whether it's one cash prize or cash prizes for each category, it can be one total cash prize for the best overall in the show. You know, that's still gonna be enough incentive for a brother to come out and want to work his dog and want to do that. You gotta have stuff out here that brothers want to compete in, man. When you look at all these other breeds and you look at the competitions and the shows and stuff they having and whatever kind of competition they got, they are competing in their competitions, you know, and they're having fun doing it, man. They're not just going out here being lame, looking lame, and doing the same old lame stuff for the last 30 years, worshiping the same lame ass people. You know, they're not doing it, man. It's modern day times. Upgrade, update yourselves. You know, don't be afraid to ask these brothers and sisters. You know, cash prizes for best in show. ADBA. It's good to have trophies and all that type of stuff as well. Ribbons and all that type of stuff as well. But if you got 100 people coming, you're gonna have 300 people coming when you put that cash prize out there. You know, and you think I'm playing, but I guarantee you, if more than one brother, more than one sister start asking about this type of stuff, this is not nothing bad or nothing um like super hard to do to the show. You know, you gotta make upgrades, man. Start playing a little music when brothers are walking around the circles and stuff, man. Play a little country music, a little rock and roll, a little rap, a little hip hop, R&B, whatever folk like to hear, man. It don't matter. Just play something, upgrade what you're doing. You can't expect brothers to be having fun when you go to these things and they're doing the same thing they was doing 20 years ago. Like, I mean, how hard is it, man, to get a little entertainment for a, a situation? Maybe if you treat them situations like you treat the clubs and like you treat everything else when you're having all these different events, cookouts and parties and everything else, they be packed, you know? I mean, you can't just and then to say if one of the people that's coming to the show, say if I come to the show and I bring the entertainment with me, then somebody gonna have something to say because they're gonna feel like I'm making money. I'm doing this when you could have did it. You know, it just is what it is, man. Giving it to my brothers and sisters like I always do. Hope y'all having a great day, great evening, great night. Like I always say, man, just depends on when you're watching this video. If you want to donate to the channel, hit down in the super chat. It's greatly appreciated. Or the Cash App, $ Pelican Bay Kennel, capital P, capital B, capital K. You know, no S on the end. Pelican Bay Kennel. If you want to donate to the channel. But yeah, man, you know, gotta update the system, man. Gotta update the system. Can't expect brothers in the dog game to update themselves when you saying, oh, we can't do the things we used to can do. It's because you gotta update yourself. You gotta upgrade yourself to modern day times. You know what I'm saying? And it's no different when it comes to these shows. They gotta update themselves. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I need for brothers to explain for me real quick. I need brothers to explain for me that, and I can't really figure this out. You know, I'm still trying to figure this out. And how do brothers come up with this number right here? Okay, I'm gonna use my own dog for example. And I got a Big John, Little John stuff. Okay. How do brothers get the number? I got a 50 times Big John dog. I got a 35 times Big John dog. And I'm saying real numbers because these are the numbers that brothers say. I got a 25 time Big John dog. I got a 37 time Big John dog.
47, 15, 30, 37, 38.
How do you get these numbers? See, I'm looking at my dog, right? My dog don't got no outs in it from the time this dog was created. This line of dogs was created back in the 90s. You know, so no out in it from there. Now I go back and I'm looking at all the inbreeding and line breeding that was did with these dogs. And I see Big John, maybe Little John in the pedigrees, 5, 6. If I say 7, that's gonna be a large number because we're not even going that far back. One thing, you know, the way the breeders was made, the dog Big John is up in the pedigrees close. But anyway, just say if I say 7 times, that's a logical number. And it still, you know, means your dog gonna be scattered all through that pedigree. 4th generation. How do you get 17, 25, 37, 40, 45? You know, how do y'all get these numbers? You don't see the dog that you're talking about. You don't see this dog in the pedigree this many times. So are you tripling the number when you see it? Like every time you see it, you count it 3 or 4 times or something? I'm trying to figure out how y'all get this number. We're gonna talk about this pedigree, learning to read pedigrees. Everybody read pedigrees different, you know. But at the end of the day, you got 4 quarters in your pedigree, man. You go to the 4th generation, you got 4 quarters in that pedigree. And I'm talking about if you're reading it for bloodline wise, you know, you got 4 quarters. Now in 4 quarters, you know what 4 quarters mean? 4 parts. In 4 quarters, it's different ways you can breed it. You can have it 50-50, all red boy on the top, all Jeep on the bottom. So 2 of your quarters is red boy and 2 of your quarters is Jeep. So you can have 1 quarter red boy, a quarter Eli, and 50% Jeep. So we Jeep, Eli, and red boy. 25, 25, 50. Now, right there is what I would consider the borderline of what we would call scatterbred. You know, if you got 4 quarters, at the most we can allow is 4 different lines in the dog. The most we can allow is 4 lines. We got 4 quarters, so most we can allow is Bolio, Red Boy Jocko, Jeep, Eli, 4 different lines, right? Now, would anybody agree with me if I say the lines that I just called out, Red Boy, Jocko, Bolio, Eli, and Jeep? How would you consider that not a scatterbred dog? And how would you consider that a scatterbred dog? Now, it's ways you can breed that. There's ways that dog can be bred to where it's not scatterbred, and there's ways that can be bred to where it's not really, they're not really focusing on certain things. You know? Because I mean, even in every quarter, when you go into the quarters of these dogs, that quarter can be cut down into quarters and eighths and stuff like that. So you might be a quarter of Eli, but in order to have that quarter of Eli in the 4th generation, that had to be a pure Eli dog. Nothing else in it. In order for that Eli dog in the 4th generation, in that first quarter, in that 4th generation, in order for that Eli dog to be a legitimate percentage of Eli in that 4th generation, then that dog needs to be a pure Eli dog. Okay? Now we talking about the top quarter of the 4th generation. Now, if that's not a pure Eli dog, then that's just the top quarter. We ain't even start getting into the rest of these quarters and the top of the next quarter, the bottom of the next quarter, the top of the 3rd quarter. We ain't even getting into none of that stuff yet. Because each one of them got to be pure. When you talking about you crossing that Red Boy, Jocko, Bolio, Eli, and Jeep. Can't be no Jeep Rascal way down in the back, Jeep this and way in the back. It gotta be solid, 4 solid lines. There's no way y'all brothers can get 50 times something. There's no way you can get 60 times something. Like what kind of mathematics and what dog men are teaching y'all to say these numbers? I'm just giving you an example. Somebody come up to me, oh, I wanna breed Fletcher. I got a female. She 35 times tab and 10 times something else. Like, where are y'all getting these numbers from? Somebody got to tell y'all to stop. Or it just don't make no sense. Learn how to read a pedigree, man. Learn how to read it. And please stop saying that you have, and I'm going to say it again and again and again. Please stop saying you got Eli dogs and Eli is only present in your pedigree one time. You do not have an Eli dog. You got a black dog. There's a big difference between a black dog and an Eli dog. If you got an Eli dog, Eli needs to be present the majority of all stuff in that pedigree in order for you to say that's an Eli dog. When you're looking at pedigree, almost everything needs to be going back to Eli. Or else you don't got an Eli dog. Sorry to tell some of y'all brothers, you got 25%, you got a dog with some Eli in it. That's what you got. And you can call a little blood together, all that. That's all good, but you don't got an Eli dog. You don't got a Jeep dog if you're not majority Jeep. You don't got a Jeep dog with Jeep 2 times in your pedigree. Only way you can do that if Jeep in the 2nd generation, one at the top, one at the bottom. You don't even got a Jeep dog if Jeep is in the pedigree of the 3rd generation 2 times. It's not enough in the 3rd generation, not twice. It's just crazy, man. The mathematics and the numbers and stuff these brothers come up with, when it comes to these dogs, man. When it comes to these dogs. And when it comes to bloodlines, it's one thing we all gotta admit, man. In the last 30 years, just look at it like this, man. In the last 30 years, brothers made all kind of breedings, right? You can bet your bottom dollar that in the last 30 years, dogs have been bred with each other that should have been created bloodlines. They was bred and the cross was so good that the dogs should have been bloodlines. And I'm talking about all strain of dogs. In the last 30 years, these breeders have been made. But you can bet in the last 30 years when these breeders were made, you always resorted back to the old famous dogs. If the two dogs that you got one off of my man Jeep Dog and the Eli Cross that he made, and them dogs were the best dogs you ever seen in your life, you went back and you resorted back to the Eli Jeep stuff instead of resorting back to the dog that you got that stuff from or the dog that he came off of, one of the two, and you just resorted back to, oh, these dogs were Eli Jeep crosses. So when I cross every Eli Jeep dog, that's what I'm going to get, and that's why you don't get what you get. You know what I'm saying? Because we done passed up so many dogs that could have been bloodlines. Still searching for ghosts, dogs that don't exist no more. The ghosts of these dogs don't even exist no more. If you could talk to some of them old school doggers like Tudor, like Mr. Carver, like Kobe, like Mr. Lightning and the rest of them brothers, they would probably ask y'all brothers, what the hell are y'all waiting so long for? Why? What do y'all focus on Red Boy them so long for? And I'm gonna speak this to my brothers in the Wild Wild West days as well. Okay? Now, go 10 years from Red Boy and then go 10 years before Red Boy was born. How often before Red Boy was born was them boys switching up bloodlines? Bloodlines switched every other year before Red Boy was born. Every time it switched to different dog men. Whether it was Heinz Zola, whether it was one of these other brothers or the next brother. Every brother that the dog switched to their hands was considered a different bloodline. Every single person. But then after Red Boy them, everything stopped. After Jeep them, everything stopped. Yellow them, everything stopped. But how could everything stop with them dogs when none of them dogs was actually in the same era? Not the very same era. It seemed like somebody was just passing the baton, right? Start your blood, start your blood. Red Boy, Yellow, Jeep, and all the dog men before all them dogs. Every last dog man from the old days when it was considered bloodlines. Going like Barney. Every dog man who had dogs back then, you look at them like bloodlines. But then once it got to modern day era, you had to stop looking at them like bloodlines. At least that's what somebody told somebody, and they spread the word, and they spread the word, and it just kept going to the next man, to the next man, to the next man. No more bloodlines. These are only bloodlines we're going to worry about. From this point on, you don't try to make nothing for yourself from the 70s, the 80s, and the early 90s. Only thing about it, nobody actually told nobody they couldn't do it. Nobody actually told nobody you couldn't start your own blood until modern day time. The more people that got into the dog game that don't actually know the dog game, it's the more these bullshit rules start popping up. And these bullshit laws and all that stuff. The more people that got in the dog game that really didn't know about the dog game. Like, all I can say is, like I said, I took all the Make America game again out my store. And when it comes to that type of stuff, man, I'm just gonna leave it right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna leave it right there. Ain't nothing else for me really to speak about that. it ain't worth me speaking about, you know. Now, I will speak on this. Brother made a comment about on Facebook, and I thought it was a good topic to speak on. The most destructive dogs aren't worth feeding. You know, the most destructive dogs aren't worth feeding. And it's a good statement and good conversation point. You know, the thing is, when it comes to dog destruction and being destructive, you know, most of the time it's something causing that dog to be that way. A lot of times it's anxiety, separation anxiety from the dogs. You know, it's just different reasons. And this is something we get confused a lot. And this is a good and a bad thing when it comes to pit bulls. These dogs is so many different temperaments with these dogs. So many different attitudes and ways that these dogs can pretty much act. It's not like your average Rottweiler where it just they need to be certain kind of ways, or they supposed to be bred to be certain kind of, or Dobermans or all these other dogs. When it comes to these pits, it's like it's a whole fruit punch full of characteristics that you get with these dogs. So where I say mine may be calm and just want to look at TV, yours might be high strung. You know what I'm saying? Then your partner's own might be halfway high strung. So the things that I can do, you can't do with your dogs. That's why I always tell brothers that you can't listen to all these keeps and different things. What might work for my dog, not gonna work for your dog. And it's just all there is to it. And until you realize that and know that in your head, when you want to ask somebody for a keep, ask somebody for a keep. No matter what I tell you, at the end of the day, I'm gonna get your money. Because that keep, it might not work for your dog. You know what I'm saying? That keep is based on the dog that I'm working. I got dogs in my yard that same keep that I'm using not gonna work on because these dogs not gonna give me the effort that keep needs to work. You know? So always remember, man, your keep is your keep. You can never emulate what somebody else is doing because now just imagine if your dog needs more to work him out than the person that made that keep gave you. The person that made that keep, they had a lazy dog. So when they made that keep, they only made that keep for how they can work the dogs that they was working. You know? So when they wrote, oh, they dog can do this or do that, your dog can do double and triple that. So you're only holding yourself back by copying what somebody else say about what program worked for their dog. You just got to trial and error and see what worked for your dog. And keep that in mind, and, you know, and roll with that. And if somebody else want to buy yours, then sell it to them. But it don't mean it's going to work for their dog. You know, I can say do road work because that's what worked for me and my dogs. But it ain't going to necessarily work for you. If I give you a road work keep, how many of y'all going to look at that same keep and say, oh, I can switch this part on the road part for the treadmill and do everything else like he say, but instead of running on the road, we're going to do that on the treadmill. Some of y'all will do that. So at the end of the day, why even bother? Get your own workout plan and what fits for your dog. If you're dealing with your dog like that, if you not neglecting your dog on the chain and you dealing with them, then you're gonna know what's what with them. And that's what all comes being destructive as well. If you see a dog being destructive, you can kind of do things to prevent it. If you see he a digger, then you put him on concrete. If you see he tears up his water bowl or knocks his water bowl over, then you give him a concrete bowl or something heavy or put it in the ground. You do whatever you do to come back the situation. You know what I'm saying? If you're just gonna sit there and let him be destructive and just whine about it and cry about it, then yeah, they aren't worth feeding because you're gonna waste more food than he gonna eat. Ants and everything else get on his food and all that type of stuff. You know, but most destructive dogs are only destructive because you're not doing something. It don't mean walking once a week. You know, if this dog got that much energy, he may need to be walked multiple times a day. You know, and it just is what it is, man. These dogs don't be just doing this stuff for nothing. You know, they need to release that energy, and you're not trying to let them release that energy. So you wonder why they go do something crazy. They get bored. Sometimes they get bored. They just want to go do something. And just so happen that do something is something that you don't want them to do. You know, folk, try all kind of ways to stop their dogs from digging, clip their nails and do this and do that. But at the end of the day, a dog on concrete can't dig through that. It's ways to stop things and it's ways to play with situations. You know, we can play with situations and then something end up happening in the long run, or either, it just don't work out like that in the long run. And we can play with it, but you can get straight to it as well, and you can knock that stuff out for real if you don't BS with it. And that's just my opinion on that. You know what I'm saying? Dogs, some dogs are just, what we'll say is they're hard keepers for themselves. When I mean that, they rip their teeth out. We had one off Little John named Split Tongue. He would just grab the chain and just lock on the chain when he get pumped up and hyped up. And he'd just do it out the blue. Go grab the chain and start shaking it. He had ripped all his teeth out his mouth. Had little nubs in his mouth. When you got dogs like that, you just have to figure out if you want these dogs. The thing what I should have did back then, if I wanted the dog, if I wanted to keep him, and I want to keep his teeth, take him off the chain, put him in the cage. That way he can't bite or can't bite on the chain or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So that would have been the thing to do. But I didn't do that. So and by me not doing it, it allows him to continue to be destructive to himself, which caused more harm and cost me money in the long run. But like I said, man, when you see these dogs being destructive like that, 9 times out of 10, it can be prevented with some dogs, and when you got a pit bull especially, that is that souped up, try to do something with the dog. You might have a dog that you need to spend all your attention on instead of going to get 1,000 dogs. You got that one dog that you can spend your attention on that'll take you higher than all the 1,000 dogs you got. Learn how to use that energy the dog got and put it into another funnel, another route. You know what I'm saying? Another tube. If you see him running like that, let him exercise. Don't just wait until wintertime. Until wintertime and try to take him off the chain and exercise him. But everybody do their dogs different. Everybody do their little program different, I just know a destructive dog can't be prevented sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, even if you got to strap the water bucket down to something, you can do all kind of, I done seen brothers adapt to the situation all kind of ways. Whatever they got to do to make sure that dog got food and water, at least water. He can turn his food over. He going to eat it off the ground. That water, he always need water. And he can't drink his water off the ground, none of that. So, yeah, man, that's just my opinion when it comes to destructive dogs, Now, one brother asks, and I want to address this before I get into this little news. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and get into this news clipping. We got a brother who was attacked by his own dog. When the police rolled up on the scene, the dog was clamped onto him. They gave the dog a little warning shot, hit him somewhere in his body, wound him up a little bit. I ain't quite sure if they finished him off or not, but we're going to watch that together. Like I said, his own dog was clamped down on him when the police got there. And I'm not 100% sure if it was a pit bull or a bully or what kind of dog it was, but they calling it a pit bull. So let's check this out. PBK9s, dog talk and news, fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. Let's get into it.
We begin with late breaking news. At least one person injured in a dog attack less than an hour ago.
It happened on Fulton Avenue near I-10 in Blanco. Our John Paul Barajas is there. And John Paul, we understand a man was attacked by his own dog.
That's right. Police told us when they arrived, they saw the homeowner on the ground in the front yard with the dog latched onto him. They tried to get the dog to release its grip, but they did not have success. So officers eventually had to shoot the dog in the back. They were then able to grab the owner and put him into a safe distance. The dog was in serious pain and injured, so they asked the owner of the dog if he had permission or gave them permission to put the dog out of its misery. Officers then went back and shot the dog again. After trying to evaluate the homeowner and the dog owner, they did not have much success because he was in significant pain and was bloody. They told us he had bites at least to both of his legs and both of his arms, possibly one on his head. He was taken to the hospital. We have since learned that those significant injuries have now changed and turned into life-threatening injuries. So we're still waiting on updates on that man's condition. We're told he's somewhere in his mid-30s as far as age, but that's the only details on the victim that we have at this time. As for calls to this location, the sergeant on scene told us that they have not looked into that just yet, but this is a case that will continue to follow and bring you the latest in. Again, one man taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries because his own dog decided to attack him. What led up to that is still a big question. John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
Like I said, man, y'all hit that super chat up, hit that Cash App up if you want to donate or support the channel. You know, PBK9s, Dog Talk, Dog TV, giving it to my brothers, fair and uncut, raw and unbiased. Man, we're going to get into that golden vein talk. I got a little bit of that as well, you know, but I want to say first, you know what I'm saying? I want to say first, you know, am I the only one that notices y'all dope boys real cheap when it come to these dogs? Y'all claim y'all spending money and they say y'all the one ruined the dog game when you came into the dog game. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, y'all don't buy dogs. Y'all the ones, the dope boys, big time dope boys, the one that want to spend $250, $500 on dogs. You know what I'm saying? When you selling dog for $15, $2,000, $2,500, the dope boys ain't gonna be the ones that buy it. It's gonna be the real dog men that got regular jobs that know but they real dog men. And they might be did their little thing or whatever in the streets. That don't mean no, because it ain't all the dope boys. I ain't gonna lie to you, it ain't all of them. Because some of the dope boys is real dog men. Some of them, boy, look here. They got all that money, and the only thing they're gonna do is put it on a bet. They want to put on a bet, and they'll buy a grown dog from you that's already out there ready to go to do something crazy, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to raising a dog and treating them right, and getting a dog and making them to something, y'all dope boys ain't got no good reputations. Penny pinchers, making all that money, but you're stingy. That's why you got those stingy ass dogs and you ain't winning shit. You know, and that's why I always say, big money don't mean hellified dog. You know, it just means you can buy a lot of stuff to make that dog a better dog if you know what you're doing. But most of the folk that come in with all that money don't use the money to know what they're doing. They use it to think they're better than the next person. And that's why the little broke man come through with his bulldog and run through it all. You know, run through it all. I just had to ask that, man. Why it just seem like the dope boys is the cheapest ones when it comes to these dogs? And y'all supposed to be got the most money. Beats me. Now, one brother asks, how many is enough times to breed your female dog when it comes to breeding? Now, I wanted to answer this question, you know, in my opinion, for this brother, because, you know, I wanted to drop down on a Facebook comment, but I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and answer it now. How many times should you breed your female to say it's an adequate enough amount of times to get them, get her pregnant? My answer is one time. One time. And I'm going to say why I say this. If you got the days right, you know, if you got your days right, we're supposed to be around about 10 to 11 days after you see the first spot of blood. If you got your days right, then it should take but one time. Now, the reason I say one time is because anybody that seen Mellow Yellow last litter of J.D. Hogg and Mellow Yellow, J.D. Hogg never stuck to Mellow Yellow. You know, he never hung to Mellow Yellow. He got on the back of her and he was hunching a little bit. And he started doing it fast and, you know, and pumping fast, but he never got locked into her. The whole time, he never locked into her. So not only am I saying that these dogs you only need one catch to catch, but I am here to verify this to some brothers that may not have seen this before. Because I call my brother like J-Bo and other brothers asking them, man, can they have them, and, if they don't catch? Yeah, man, yeah. Hey, it went down just like that. I forgot how many puppies I had of that little, 5 or 7 or 6, one of them, but healthy puppies. But they daddy never stuck to the mama dog. And that tell you something about the mutts now. The mutts do not have to get stuck to your dog to get them pregnant. All they got to do is get back there and get the hunching. And boy, look at here, that's a wrap. You will have some mutt dogs. That's why you can't catch the mutt dogs hung off in your girl dog. Because they don't even got to get hung off in them. No dog got to get hung off in them, but the mutt's smart enough not to get hung off in them because they know they going to get probably took down if they get stuck. So they go back there and jab 4, 5, 10 times and be done shot something up in her, and he ain't even trying to get hung off in her. So yeah, my brother, it don't take but one time, and then you don't even got to be hung that one time, to get your female dog pregnant. Now, before I get into that golden vein talk, you know what I'm saying? Let me take y'all little young boys into the modern day time and to what's real and see if you really built like this. We always say this ain't old days, right? Let's see, do y'all young brothers got the heart to do it like the old brothers? When people come in your yard, you got the heart to look at all them brothers when you got 20 brothers, 30 brothers there. You got the heart to look at all them brothers in their face and tell them, put these cell phones back in the car. If they cell phone ain't back in the car, they better go back and stay in the car with their phone and talk on their phone in the car or do whatever they gonna do, or somebody gonna have to leave with them and take them back wherever they going at. Do you even got the heart to tell folk that? A lot of y'all brothers don't got the heart to even tell brothers the proper stuff that the old schoolers did before the shows start nowadays time. You don't got the heart to tell them, and folk will be right up under you with a wire, with a camera, with whatever they want to have around them squares, around whatever they trying to get you at. All because you trying to fit in and you really don't got the heart for it. You know that man strapped, and you know that man don't play about, and you might don't even know that man. A lot of times y'all brothers don't even know the people that be at your house. And it just is what it is, man. I just had to take it back there for a second, and show brothers just how fast it'll go down, because when you ain't taking these cell phones, see, these brothers made brothers take regular Nokia phones, flip singular phones, and them dinosaur phones. You had to take them back to the car. Imagine if these old school dog men would have seen these smartphones. Boy, you ain't got one of them police cameras on you, do you? You leave all them cameras in the car. Man, them boys, listen here, man. You wouldn't even leave them in the car. With this modern day technology, with these phones and the GPSs and all that, them brothers back then would have told you, don't even come to the damn thing with your phone. Only maybe one man that's come into contact, the man who coming to the show. Everybody else better leave your damn phone. I mean, it just is what it is, man. Different times, different atmospheres, different type of folk. You know what I'm saying? For my older brothers, don't ever get it twisted and think these brothers in the modern day time is moving like you used to move back in the days. You know what I'm saying? And my new brothers, don't ever get it twisted and think these modern day times you can do what them brothers talk about and we speak about different times on these shows and different magazines where you may read. Never think you can do all that stuff today. All that stuff is good for is reading and hearing a good story modern day times. When you got your dog, it's nothing more, nothing less. If you understand that, you're going to be great. Great things that happen for you in the dog game. But if you can't understand that, if you a follower, if you trying to fit in, if you just doing anything to be down, then it's no telling. You're going to be on the PBK9 Dog Talking News sooner or later. Boy, y'all boy need to take me to that page y'all going to buy all them channels and them views and all that other stuff y'all doing, man. It is what it is. Everybody do what they do, though. You know, everybody do what they do. So at the end of the day, man, your dog should never be able to outsmart you. Your dog should never be able to feel like, or you should never feel like this dog is just too destructive. If he does and you can't handle it, you need to get rid of it. You know, or let somebody else handle him who can, or take him to the dog pound or animal shelter, one or the other. You know, one or the other. Now let's speak a little bit about this golden vein, man. You know, because I heard Chico speaking about it one time before, and his dogs really don't got the golden vein. You know, it's something. Golden vein is real, but his production level is not there to call the golden vein. He got that terminology from somebody else that used it before him, you know, but his dog don't possess the traits trickle down dog after dog after dog. You know, like we said, he's the only one with global champions. Where are all the people that's buying puppies off these global champions globally? Where are all the people at globally buying these dogs? You know, we never see that. We only see stuff advertised here in America. You know what I'm saying? To these American brothers and sisters. Shoot you anything, they'll believe anything. You know what I'm saying? And that's just where it always been over the past few years. You know, but the golden vein is real. But I'm not on no hate. I don't think the dogs that he got possess the golden vein. And I mean by performance-wise. See, now, the looking-wise, if you want to say looking like a Mayday dog or a Macho Buck dog or looking like these dogs, he make looks. But I can't say Macho Buck because that group of dogs have nothing to do with him. We talking about the dogs that he running. They just don't have the golden vein. The golden vein trickles down from litter after litter, year after year after year after year. Consistently. That's what the golden vein is. When you get that, that's why when I speak about that Big John stuff, it's the golden vein. And that's not the only golden vein line of dogs. You got golden vein line of dogs in a lot of dogs, but you gotta find them. You got to speak to the brothers that's going to speak with confidence about the line of dogs like that. I can speak about these same dogs from 1995 just like I could in 2005, you know, or just like I could in 2003 or whenever, you know. It never changed. You always was getting great performing dogs. You always, every now and then, you get mediocre stuff. Just like any other line. But when you hear a phrase, the golden vein, it's a real phrase, and it really pertains to certain dogs that contain the actual genes and traits. It's so strong, it trickles down to dog after dog after dog after dog. All their offspring and descendants possess these traits. That's when you're dealing with the golden vein. You know, you just got to know how to recognize it when you see it. Them dogs that Chico claiming he got, the global champions and all that stuff, you cannot depend on the offspring to be super working dogs. You can't depend on the offspring of that offspring to be super working dogs. They do not possess the golden vein. Them Big John dogs got the golden vein in them when it comes to production. You can say what you want, feel how you want to feel, but they got it. When I tell you you can breed them with anything, you can't do that if the dog don't possess the golden vein. You know, any dog just can't do it. You don't get that much consistency with just any line of dogs. They gotta have the golden vein. And see, you might look at one brother might be bred his dog 1,000 times, one brother might be bred his dog 200 times. You know, you can't go by that either. You got to look at, if you're going to add the numbers up, look at how you got a dog who only made 30 breedings, but he got 3, 4, 5 grand champions. 2 or 3 champions. And he only been bred about 30 times. And then you got a dog bred 200 times, 300 times, and he ain't got no more no more grand champions and champions than that dog that bred 30 times. A lot of y'all will see that dog that bred 200 times is the better dog. Even if he had 2 more champions and 2 more grand champions than the dog that bred 30 times. The dog that bred 30 times, he had 6 champions, 6 grand champions. The dog that bred 200 times, he had 9 grand champions, 9 champions. Who you think the better dog is? In production-wise. If we're going by their percentages, the better dog is the dog that only been bred 30 times. We got 6 champions, 6 grand champions out of 30 times. Even with 200 breedings, if the dog got double his champions, if he got 6 champions and you made 12 and you did 200 breedings and he got 6 and he only did 30, he's still the better breeder than you is. The amount that it took for you to get 12 way exceeds what it took for him to get 6. Some of y'all may not understand that. And like I said before, a lot of y'all don't even understand these dogs that you're walking around with on leashes. All you know is you got a pit bull, a game dog. That's all you know. And you know what his pedigree say. You know, I always knew how important marketing was. You know, always knew how important marketing was. You see that picture? You see that picture in the back? That picture is from a business card. Before smartphones, before all these Apple phones, before Facebook and all that as well. There was no Facebook when I did that picture with Sambo. That was from a regular Polaroid camera, and it went developed at a Photoshop. You know what I'm saying? And I just made them to some business cards. But I knew what importance what marketing myself was back then. You know, and I was doing it. You know, it was either books. You could see something in the books. If you weren't looking in books, then you had a little bit of stuff online that you can watch, because it was starting to be an internet during that time. You know, so you could find certain things online. But I was from here to there passing out my cards. Had my cards in the stores, putting them on the counters on the stores, at the clubs, handing them to people I know was Bulldog Brothers. You know, different places, man. I'll be bumping into people. They'll be like, yo, man, I seen you so-and-so. You gave me one of them cars with a dog on it, this and that, and this and that. Like, I met so many good dog brothers just off of marketing Sambo out there. You know, that's why a lot of brothers gonna know Bo that really don't actually know Bo, because I was marketing him out there during that time of, well, a lot of y'all brothers only know Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that, but there was time before that. You know, there was a time before that, whether you believe it or not. It's all about marketing, man, all about promoting yourself. You know what I'm saying? I always, once I became Pelican Bay, it was what it was. I wasn't looking back. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't as serious, you know what I'm saying, if the way I am now about certain things, but I was always serious about my name. You know, so for any brother to say I would want to take on what another brother doing, you know, or got going on, or mad because what another brother got going on, like, you got to understand, stop hating and looking at stuff from the outside, trying to look in and figure out what brothers got going on. You know, that's what a majority of this dog community does, man. You look from the outside, look in, and you make judgments. Half of y'all brothers, you ain't never been through no street stuff. You always talking about snitch this, snitch that. You ain't never been through nothing. You know, half y'all brothers ain't never bulldog. You always talking about bulldog and this, bulldog and that. You only got a selective few of brothers out there that's really got their feet dirty the right way and can speak on their stories if they wanted to. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all brothers, you just wannabes, man. And like I said about Mellow Yellow Litter, hopefully this will be the last time that I make this breeding. Unless, but hopefully this will be the last time I make it. But unless this breeding is just so damn good that I feel, oh, I gotta make it again. You know, but even at that, I don't want to make this breeding anymore, because I don't want to keep going in close like that, and I want to bring better stuff or more stuff to make better dogs with into the program. You know, and when I say most stuff, better dogs or different dogs, I'm talking about all walkable dogs. You know what I'm saying? I know what dogs I'm trying to go into the confirmation shows with, what I'm trying to go into the treadmill races with, the wall climbing and the weight pull with, you know, big John dogs. You know what I'm saying? That's what I said. I'm going to show y'all, brothers, that we train these dogs. These dogs are some of the best uh, and smartest when it comes to training pit bulls that you can find. They will work protection as well. They got enough body to do weight pulling. They got enough athleticism to do anything. They can even do your lure chases. You know, so I'm gonna rock with my blood. And when I say my blood, I'm just saying the dogs that I'm rocking with. You know, the dogs that I'm rocking with. Got confidence in them dogs. I know what they capable of. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. Y'all stay safe out there. Y'all stay legal out there. And remember where y'all got it from first, man. Y'all subscribe to that channel if you ain't subscribed, man. You just doing yourself a disjustice. If you ain't subscribed yet, man, go ahead and hit that button. Totally free. Hit that like button before you get up out of here, my brother and my sisters. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna tell you the honest truth before I get up out of here now. You know, that mellow yellow litter right there, that's one of them litters that I get rid of the whole damn yard. Every damn thing gone. Everything go. Keep all the puppies. If I wasn't breeding the same dogs already. You know what I'm saying? And that's semi a joke. You know, some of y'all brothers take that a little too far and come saying, oh, you saying this or you saying that? Joke, man. Y'all brothers gotta lighten up sometime. You know, but I'm not looking to sell them. I will sell some when I put them up for sale. You know, this ain't gonna be a litter that you can put down payments on. It's gonna be a litter that you have to just buy straight out. You know, a puppy when you purchase your puppy, you're gonna have to buy it straight out. You know, maybe one or two for sale. Like I said, I'm not trying to sell any. I'm mostly keeping all of these. That's why I was selling some of the other dogs, because I knew I was gonna have too many puppies. I wasn't gonna be able to keep all them puppies. You know, so I can keep one here, one there, and then keep a little more of the next one if that's what I was trying to do. You know, but big salute to everybody, man, that been rocking with me for each litter that I dropped over the past 3 litters. You know, the first litter of Mellow Yellow and Diamond. I mean, Fletcher and Diamond, sorry about that, which is JD Hog's sister. The second one off Fletcher and JD Hog Mama, you know, so which these puppies are half brothers to JD Hog, you know, half brothers, same mama, different daddies. What JD Hog daddy was Hog, a Hog son, this dog here daddy is a Big John descendant, you know. So yeah, man, it's just a little. I think I should get some real good working dogs out of. I wouldn't doubt if I have some good scent dogs out of these dogs, man, because the mama and the daddy get on my nerves sometime when they want to do all that sticking your nose to the ground when I'm trying to walk. 'Cause I'm a speed walker. You know what I'm saying? You don't even, you're going to be one of them dogs that don't get walked as much if you can't keep up with me when I'm walking. I don't walk slow. You know what I'm saying? I walk fast. So you got to be able to keep up. And then sometimes Mellow Yellow or either Fletcher, they'll go to sniffing on the ground like they drug dogs and stuff like that. You know, so ain't no telling. I might could turn them dogs into some good scent dogs, man. But I'm looking for some big things out of them in these brother shows that they having, ADBA shows or whatever. However, you're gonna hear about these little puppies coming off Mellow Yellow and Fletcher right here. You know what I'm saying? So y'all stay safe out there, man. Y'all stay legal out there. Keep doing the right things with these dogs. You know what I'm saying? Support the positive. When it comes to this negative, if you can't see the same thing I see, these brothers, they just sit around and wait. You know what I'm saying? They just sit around and wait. You know, brothers don't want to earn stuff. They rather buy it. You know, and it just is what it is, man. But understand, when you buy it, you don't get that same thrill from it, because in your head, you got all that. You got this and you got that. But in reality, you know that you didn't earn that. You know what I'm saying? So in your head that you know, okay, yeah, I got this many this or this many subscribers. But when it's time for you to earn the rest, how can you earn them when you never earned them from the start? But I ain't gonna talk your head off on that, man. Y'all stay safe out there. Y'all stay legal out there. Do the right things with these dogs. Take care of them. Keep them out that sun. Keep them out them fleas. And hey, it just is what it is. Remember where you got it from first. PBK9s, Dog TV and News. And I'm out.
Pelican Bay Dog News is a dog TV and news platform covering the welfare of canines across the world. PBK9s also specializes in obedience, scent, and protection training. Critiqued for shedding light on the corruption of illegal dog fighting and the ego seekers in the modern community, there has only been one motto: some gonna like it, some ain't.